Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my cooking demo. My name's Laura and I am the owner and nutritionist here at Laura Flood Nutrition. I help women with depression, anxiety, and mood feel their best with personalized nutrition and nature immersion. So a little bit about me before we begin today on beans. I'm 2 months away from having my master's in nutrition here at Maryland University of Integrative Health, and right now I'm taking a class on cooking demos. So this is my first cooking demo, so thank you for being here. So today's all about beans. We are going to learn how to make some really great bean recipes that are not only delicious but also will sit well in your stomach. You've probably heard or experienced that people often have gas from eating beans, but you don't have to. I'll teach you some methods to alleviate the gas and prepare the beans in a way where you won't have the gas. And these recipes today are focused on summer, since that's the season we're in. 4th of July is just around the corner. So we're going to make some really great, filling, nutritious recipes that you can bring to your family picnic for vegans and non-vegans to enjoy. All today's recipes are vegan, and they are centered around ingredients that have nutrients that are often lacking in vegan diets. So we'll get started. The first recipe we're going to do is a burger. A lentil walnut burger. So lentils aren't technically beans, but they're still in the legume family. These are the lentils that I brought. They are organic brown lentils. I think they have a good taste and texture. Before I begin, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350. You could make these on the grill, but you'd want to pre-bake them first, so they don't make a mess. So I have my lentils here, and this is 3/4 cups of the brown lentils. So to make these more digestible, what I did is I measured them out, and then I soaked them in filtered water overnight in my fridge, and now I'm going to rinse them before I use them. So bear with me, put them over in the sink. Giving them a good soak. This colander is great here. So I'm just going to put them in my Instant Pot, which I'll show you how to use. So because I soaked them overnight, I don't really need a ton of water for these. I'm just going to coat them a little bit. I don't want them too watery, but I want to make sure that they're cooked. So I just barely covered these in water, but for something that wasn't soaked, you'd want more water and more time. So if I didn't soak these, it would be about 20 minutes in here, but since I did and I soaked them overnight, it's only going to be about 5 minutes. So I put the lid on, I make sure it's closed, and then there is a little nozzle over here that I'm just going to flip over to sealing, which will make sure that they cook. And my cat's obviously hungry, if you can hear her. Okay, so I'm going to hit the pressure cook button on here, and it's set to 5 minutes, and then I don't have to hit anything. It'll be ready to go. It does take longer than 5 minutes though, because it takes some time for the pressure to heat up. So that's telling me that it's on. It started. So, I'm gonna cancel that because I forgot to add my spices. So I like to cook them with the spices because they'll incorporate better than if we added them at the end. And I'm also gonna add bay leaves, which do help with the breakdown of the compound that gives people gas in the beans and the lentils. This compound is called phytic acid. So the bay leaves will help. I'm just going to add, I think I didn't add quite enough water. And then pressure cook 5 minutes. So as I was saying, the bay leaves will help with the breakdown of the phytic acid, that compound that needs to be broken down. So if you cook things well, if you soak them, if you discard the water afterwards, that helps break down the phytic acid, and then that will help with gas. So you won't have as much gas and as much bloating as well. Another ingredient that's really good for breaking down the phytic acid, alleviating the gas, is a seaweed called kombu. And unfortunately, my grocery store doesn't carry it anymore, but you can buy it online or buy it in health food stores. And it's a seaweed. You have one strip of it. It's hardier than the seaweed that you wrap sushi in, but you can just put it in the Instapot. So while that is cooking and heating up and our oven's heating up, I'm going to make a chia egg. So veggie burgers need some kind of binding agent so that they don't completely fall apart. So what I'm going to do is, in here I have one teaspoon of chia seeds, which are right here. And then I'm just going to combine a 1/4 cup, I already have measured out, of water. So you're just adding those two things together, give it a little stir, and this will just take a few minutes to set. And it becomes a gel, which will bind it. And one reason why I did the chia seeds, not just to make it vegan, but also is because chia seeds are really rich in an ingredient that's often lacking in vegan diets. And that would be omega-3 fatty acids. So the chia seeds are rich in them, and another ingredient in these lentil walnut burgers is as well, which would be the walnuts, which we'll get to. So omega-3s are very important in non-vegan and vegetarian diets. They're found in the highest quantities in fish. They're really important for heart health, for brain health, your hairs, your skin, your nail. So in my practice with people with mood and depression, it's something we always incorporate. So other than chia seeds and walnuts, another good ingredient for that omega-3 are hemp seeds, which look like this, sometimes called hemp hearts, and also flax seeds. You can make a flax egg instead of a chia egg. So let's see what we get into next. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get our walnuts started. So this is a stasher bag. You could use a plastic bag if you'd like. I like these because they're reusable. You don't have to waste plastic. You can reuse it. So in here I have walnuts. I have, let's see how many. I have a 1/4 cup of the walnuts, just organic when you can. I also have a piece of toast. It's my toast. And let's see. So I have the toast in there. You could use breadcrumbs and make it a little bit easier on you if you had breadcrumbs, but you don't have to go out and buy breadcrumbs. You can just make them yourself. And you can use any bread you'd like. I did a homemade sourdough bread, which maybe I'll do another video for. So in this stasher bag here, I am going to just take this cup and kind of crunch it like so. And it's fun to do. You could get your kids involved. You could take your anger out on it. You could blend it up in a food processor, but we're where's the fun in that? So beans and walnuts, or nuts in general, beans, nuts, and seeds are ingredients that are essential for vegan diets. A healthy vegan diet should be filled with veggies and protein. And people will often say, well, where do you get your protein in a vegan diet? Well, you do get some from vegetables, but the nuts, the seeds, and the beans, the lentils are all good sources of protein, and they should be eaten daily. Just getting brushed up. So it's not just the protein in the beans that's important. Beans and lentils are also really good sources of B vitamins, which are really important for energy and also stress management. And you can get them from food. So you want to incorporate the beans. Different leafy greens are also high in folate, which is a B vitamin. The one B vitamin that's really hard to get from food is B12, but you can put this nutritional yeast on foods, on salads, and this is really high in B12. So you can eat a healthy, complete vegan diet, but it does take work. And it shouldn't be all about those, pre-made burgers that resemble meat but are really just genetically modified soy, because those are not healthy for you. You don't want to have like a ton of processed food in your diet. It's better to stick with whole foods similar to what we're making today. But there's always room for wiggle room and for some fun and everything in balance. So we're going to take these crushed up walnuts and the crushed up piece of toast. I'm going to just put it in this bowl here. Ovens are preheated. Update on the Instapot. The pressure was released in here, so the timer for the 5 minutes has started. So the lentils are cooking. Let's see what's next. So you don't have to use an Instapot if you don't have one. If you don't have a pressure cooker, that's fine. You can do these on the stove. The lentils will cook pretty quickly on the stove. Other dried beans, you'd want to do the same process that we did by soaking them overnight, discarding the water. You can do them on the stove. Just have to adjust your timing on that. I just like to do it in the Instapot because it breaks down a little bit more. I think they digest a little bit better, alleviate more gas. Okay. So while these are still cooking, I'm going to start with my next recipe. So the next recipe we're going to be doing a really easy 3-bean salad. So I will show you the beans. So we have here kidney beans, organic, cannellini beans, and then we also have chickpeas. So as you can see, I'm not using dried beans, dried lentils like I did with the previous recipe. I'm just using straight out of the jar or the canned beans. And this is all about, not being perfect. We don't always have to use dried foods, dried beans. We can, have some compromise and not always have to, plan beans the night before, which is great, but it's not always the most practical. So I like this brand of beans right here, the Jovial. because they are soaked overnight already and they're pressure cooked. So these are ready to go. You're not going to have as much trouble digesting them. As far as these ones go, they are not soaked overnight. They're not pressure cooked. They are already cooked, but you might have some gas with those. So what do? You could just, have the gas, but to alleviate that discomfort, I like to take a digestive enzyme. So there's some options here. If you're working with a nutritionist or different practitioner, you can ask them about which specific one would be right for you, or if they're right in general. But these are just really non-invasive. They don't, interact with other supplements, and they're just digestive enzymes. So we make them in our body, but typically not enough. So just one capsule, and then helps you break down that food, breaks down the phytic acid, so you don't have the bloating, the cramping, or the gas. So let's make the beans. So in here I have all those beans I mentioned. I rinse them with my nice little colander, and then just put them all in here. Okay, so we're gonna add, our Instapot's ready. So I will show you how to do that. So it beeps at you, and you want to relieve all the pressure that's built up in here. So I want to make sure that this right here, which lets out all the steam, is not going to be in my face or burning up my cabinets. So I just take this nozzle with this long spoon. I just move it. Good time for a water break. My coworker gave me this cat mug because it looks like my cat. So it just takes a minute to release the pressure. You don't want to open it before that because you could get a lot of steam in your face. You could get burned. So it's not something to mess with. So I would recommend reading the instructions on your Instapot. And don't touch this silver part because you can get a minor burn or a more extensive one. I just got a little hot on my finger because I wasn't paying attention. So don't do that. So now that the pressure is released, we can open this up carefully. And yeah, the beans cooked down really well. It didn't need that much water. I just barely covered it with water because they were already soaked. So the next thing we're gonna do is, ideally these would be all the way cooled down. I'm just gonna shut this off, turn the power off. And we're going to add this to our mixture of the walnuts and the bread. Gonna add a couple more things in too. In here I have 3 cloves of roasted garlic. Just gonna add that in. And the pot's going to be really hot, so we want to be careful here. And we do want to remove the bay leaf because it just wouldn't be that great to bite into some bay leaves. Okay. there's another bay leaf. Just gonna toss that over there. Just gonna give this a mix. And we're also going to add some olive oil here. This is 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons. And I like to use this brand, the Bellucci. I think this is a really good olive oil, and it's organic, but you can use whatever olive oil you like. Gonna salt it. Well, you can salt it to taste, but harder to taste when it hasn't been cooked yet, so I'm just gonna coat the top there. And the spices that we put in here, we did a tablespoon of ground cumin and a teaspoon. We did a teaspoon of each of these. I mean, you could do a tablespoon if you want to go real spicy. Teaspoon of ground coriander. We did a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. And this one here is just the bay leaves. And also, to make this really combine really well and stick to bind it, we want to do that chia egg. So our chia egg, the gel is already pretty nice. The longer that you have it in here, the more gel-like it's gonna be. So although we could use this, I already have them prepared here. I just soaked this for like an hour, and you can see that it's really gel-like. So I'm just gonna add that in, and that was a tablespoon of chia, 1/4 cup of water. Just gonna get that all in there. And again, that those chia seeds have those omega-3s. And you can do a lot with chia seeds. You can make a chia seed pudding. Soak them in nut milk, like an oat milk, cashew milk, almond milk, add berries. There's a lot you can do with them. And they're high in fiber too. And beans and lentils are also high in fiber. And we do need fiber to stay full and to have regular bowel movements, which are really important to not only feel good, but detox your nutrients. So to make these, I'm going to quickly wash my hands. And then I'm going to form these into patties. So this makes about 8 patties. And pretty hot here. And then just going to put them on a baking sheet with parchment paper, and that makes them a lot easier to get off. And the patties don't have to be perfect, but this is a great meal to bring to barbecues, impress your non-vegan friends with your cooking skills, feel full, because I was a vegetarian for a long time, and there were many family events where all I could eat was bread or some fruit. So we want to have some full meals. So by a full meal, I mean some vegetables, some protein, some fat, some carbs, and all of those are in this meal. Be good to serve it with more vegetables. So I'm making my patties kind of not perfect, but they're good enough. So rinse my hands. And stick these in the oven. The oven's set at 350. these will take about 30 minutes, 20-30 minutes. I flip them over halfway. So now we're going to get back to making the salad. So again, I have my beans that I soaked and rinsed in here, and I am going to add some diced red onion. I'm going to do about 1/4 of a really big red onion, that big. And then in here, 4 stalks of celery. And then from my garden, I have in here some fresh parsley that's finely chopped. And our dressing for this is 1/8 cup of pure maple syrup. No Aunt Jemima's fake stuff here. We want the real stuff. Great natural vegan sweetener. And then apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is great. Helps you digest your food because it increases stomach acid, which is important for digestion. There's also some of this olive oil in here. 3 tablespoons. So I'm just going to mix this up. And this, you can let it sit overnight in the fridge just for those flavors to meld and for it to cool. My cat obviously does not want it to sit overnight. She wants her food right now, although she's not vegan. No beans for cats. So this is already done. We can add some freshly ground pepper, salt it to taste, and that's ready. That's ready for your summer salad. And we can take some digestive enzymes with that at the beginning of the meal. Again, that apple cider vinegar in there is going to help. And I'll show you what that looks like. Fresh bean salad. Nice. Could be a side dish or main dish. So it's been 10 minutes. We flipped it, and it's been another 10 minutes. And now our burgers are done. Kitchen magic. So here we are, our beautiful lentil walnut burgers filled with great vegan nutrients, protein, omega-3s, fiber, B vitamins. So we can top them with different things. You can put them on a bun. You could put it on a salad. You could put it on the bean salad we just made. Some of my favorite toppings are hummus. Hummus is a great vegan alternative to mayo. I like this brand, the Asmar's, because it doesn't have canola oil in it, which isn't a great oil. All it is chickpeas, so beans on beans on beans. Pickled onions are really good topping, and as is sauerkraut. So with these you can get some great probiotics, which are good for gut health, which gut health is good for brain health, is good for mood, it's good for digestion, everything. So in conclusion, we have beans, we have beans, we have beans. Beans for vegans. You don't have to go hungry or to feel deprived on a vegan diet. You can get the nutrition you need. It just takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of knowledge, and you can do it with whatever kitchen equipment you have. If you don't have an Instapot, that's fine. So thanks for watching. Again, I'm Laura from Laura Flood Nutrition. I'll see you next time. Thanks.